I'm the orthopedic surgeon.
Finally, you have to help him. He's in so much pain.
Fine, Jesse.
Dad, please, I got it.
The daughter was obviously upset.
Can you hurry? We need to get back to the reception. People are waiting for us, and I'm not going to go back without my father.
So I got some
Turn out the way that she had thought it was going to.
Oh, no. We missed pictures.
I told her to go on without me.
How can I have pictures of my wedding day without the father of the bride? Oh, God.
Of course, the whole family was just horrified that this would happen on this day that they had looked forward to and spent so much time planning for.
Hey, y'all. Hello. What's her name?
Jesse Manzo. I mean, Tate.
Miss Tate? Jesse. Hey, listen, we're going to get you back to your wedding, but I got to take care of your dad first, so y'all just quiet down a little bit.
Okay. But won't we give him something for the pain?
I told you I'm fine, Jesse.
A lot of times you can really cut a lot of the stress by being funny about the whole thing.
We will let him suffer. Well, maybe just a little.
I don't know if anybody else thinks so funny, but I think I am.
You think this is funny? I've been planning this day since I was 5 years old. 5. Do you know what it's like to think about something that long?
Well, I can.
And then imagine missing your own wedding
2 out of
reception
4.
because you're stuck in the helping make things better. It's making
2 out of
jokes.
4.
Oh,
Plastic's broken.
Jesse, listen. We do this sort of thing all the time. We're going to get him into surgery.
Why couldn't you just put a cast on it?
I've fixed many subtropical tear fractures, but I don't do a lot of bright fixing.
Hey, listen. We're going to take you to the OR. Everything will be okay. We'll get you stabilized, okay?
can we go now?
Don't y'all worry. We'll get all of them to the reception.
Oh no! I'm not going anywhere until I know my dad is all right.
All right, but it's going to take a while.
I don't care how long it takes.
And now she felt like she needed to be there for her dad.
We'll cancel our honeymoon.
And at this point in time, her new husband felt like he needed to interject.
Cancel the honeymoon. Jess, are you scared? There's nothing you can do here. You acting crazy.
Which most married guys would know not be the right thing to say.
You're doing pretty decent.
Crazy.
I'm saying it is dumb.
I don't care now. I'm done.
That's just gonna set.
Decided to try to go live on YouTube.
You have lost your mind.
Really?
What's up, JD?
Trying to throw away $10,000 on a honeymoon so you can sit in a hospital doing nothing.
Well, if you're so worried about money,
Yeah,
you can go to
my
Jamaica by
Oh,
Why don't you go ahead and spend the rest of your life by yourself? You know, maybe I
We're in a fairly busy emergency room. However, this was unusual enough that people were coming by just to check out what was going on. There was a 3-ring circus.
see if anything maybe
I don't even know where the pack is.
Like I said, it's empty. That's
Oh.
why I said like, I used the last one, yeah, so I was saying that I have to take out more.
If I go in,
How are you doing? I'm good.
Broken her neck during a high-speed rollover on the freeway.
I was just going in there.
I was going over braking the other day. I veered to the right and I overcorrected. And in doing so, we started to roll.
Please, please, Alice, I can't see him. Please, why isn't he making any noise?
6-year-old Dylan was thrown 100 feet from the car.
He was in his seatbelt and I thought he was safe. When the car started rolling, he was too small in the seatbelt.
Dylan had extensive multi-system trauma. He is not breathing well. He is unresponsive. He clearly has severe head injuries. We assume he has severe internal injuries as well, and he has an obvious broken bone in his leg.
How too sad is it was that? Dr. Veal, what should I tell him on?
I'll talk to her as soon as I can get an airway.
Dylan is one of the most critical patients ER nurse Lori Ledford has ever seen.
I think the little boy has non-survivable injuries, and if he survives, his brain is probably not going to function in a normal manner.
Give me the smallest one we've got. We were able to intubate him by placing a endotracheal tube into his airway to breathe for him.
CP's 80/40.
All right, well, let's get him into CT.
Dylan,
Mrs. Smith,
how's Dylan? Is he okay? I want to see him.
I'll know a little bit more once we get the tests back, but we're doing everything we can.
When they said they were doing all they could, that terminology to me meant it's serious and he may not make it.
He's gonna be okay, right?
We don't have the resources here to take care of him. We're going to transfer him to Children's Hospital just as soon as we can.
Doctor?
Oh, good. Mrs. Smith, this is Dr. Francis. He's a neurosurgeon. He's gonna take a look at you, okay?
Dr. Bill, CT's ready.
All right, let's take him now.
Please, Dr. Bill.
Lauren, do you wanna call the hospital and arrange for a transfer? Lori, you wanna come with me?
I'll explain everything in a moment.
Dr. Veal gets a CAT scan of Dylan's skull to send via computer to Children's Hospital. Doesn't look good.
His CAT scans are very scary. You can see the fractures to his brain, you can see bone pushing down on his brain, and you can see blood within the skull, which then pushes out the area where the brain is supposed to be sitting. The brain will literally start to push itself out of the skull, and the brain dies.
Can you email these to Children's?
Sure.
Helicopter's here. Let's take him straight to the pad. We know he has severe head injury and may require neurosurgical intervention and needs to be transported to a children's hospital for more definitive care as soon as possible.
Dylan will be separated from his mother and taken by helicopter to a hospital 20 miles away.
Dr. Francis, the CAT scans are in.
Is that Dylan?
We're getting your son ready to take him to
This
children's.
is literally basically almost all we have. Total.
Still, okay? X-ray showed.
So that's what I can do.
We'll help you out as soon as we get him up.
What are you gonna be doing today? I'm
You want to allow
currently
the time
going through Hot Wheels trying to
urgency of
see how much value I can get out of my Hot Wheel
My
collection.
goal was to at least allow her.
There's about 200, so we're making a log for them all right now.
This one was one of the more expensive ones. That's your actual.
I love you.
Oh, you didn't even realize it?
Yeah, this one's 17.
76.
We just have to. I just cut that perfectly. Just don't want to rip it off. I was about to do that. It's easier. The paper and get worse. So just cut it perfectly.
Is you said what? How much? 17.
And that mother is probably
And
for the last time alive.
we'll say like 2.
I'd say too. That one's like. Besides that, but I can figure out that tape. So like.
Let's put him down by the shoulders.
Dr. Mark Eckstein struggles to restrain the unidentified patient who the police
Gosh.
at a bus stop stabbed through the heart.
He's trying to die.
PORSCHE.
And to me, this is what we train for.
Give me a central line kit, please.
We can control anybody with medication, but he has no ID.
Pin him down by the shoulders so I get the central line in. With him moving this much, you could puncture his lung. Frank, I'm well aware of the risk. Thank you. Hold him down.
I have someone push down to hold his torso up against the gurney, long enough for me to put a central line in him, which is risky because if he moves, the needle could perforate his lung or a major artery.
Josephine, I need 30 of the Tom.
What's up, John?
150 a suck. Okay, line
$5.
We gave him one
Two.
medication to put him to sleep immediately, then a medicine to paralyze him.
Drugs are in.
Okay, Frank, get ready to intubate. Turn ahead on ultrasound again.
Listen, Doc, we gotta get back out there.
Officers, thank you very much. I appreciate your help.
He stops breathing, he stops moving, he doesn't feel anything. My main concern is that the knife may have hit his heart.
Okay, I'm seeing a big ring of fluid around the heart. This patient's going into cardiac tamponade.
The heart can no longer push blood out to the rest of the body, and he only has only a few minutes before he's going to go into cardiac arrest.
Okay, let's go. Need a thoracotomy
We
train.
need to open his chest and try to get this problem fixed.
$3
Once the
out
heart
of 3.
stops, the brain
3 out of 3?
dies in 4 to 6 minutes, lack of
Gosh.
oxygen. With no time to waste. The cardiac tamponade.
So am I gonna be like
fixed in the ER, or he's just not going to survive.
Thoracotomy train ready?
Flash his chest with betadine. That's about as sterile as the procedure's going to get. Grab a scalpel and literally open his chest.
Kurt, you want to cut? Here's your chance.
We've got a moment to lose.
Forget it. Give me the knife.
We need to crack his chest right now.
This one's $3 at 2.
O2 sats 97%.
ER Dr. Kevin Veal escorts 6-year-old Dylan Smith to the hospital's helicopter. Less than an hour ago, he was thrown from his mother's car. While Marie Smith's injuries are serious, they are not life-threatening.
And then you said this other one was 2 and
Is to be airlifted.
3 and 2.
$3 and 2.
He is essentially in a coma. He is on life support at this time.
And this one's gonna be
with
that exact same.
At Phoenix Children's Hospital, Dr. Paul Bakerman receives Dylan's CAT scans.
He's in trouble.
he is ejected 100 feet from the car, that means your head's going to go through the windshield, your head's going to strike the ground. You would expect that he has a major injury to his brain.
Is there a neurosurgeon?
Dr. Moss. Call him, sure he's on his way.
Okay. Let's double check his ETA.
Okay.
Doctor. Careful, guys. Let's get him on the bed. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move him on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Dylan comes in with multiple facial fractures, lacerations, and he's just in bad shape.
Here's chest first. I wanna see how his lungs are holding up. Anyone know where his family is?
Mom's still at Danielswaggins. She's still banging up herself.
And Dad's been called, he's on his way.
Okay, guys, thanks.
Dan Smith arrives at Children's Hospital knowing nothing about his wife or son's condition.
They said that my family had been involved in an accident, and they wouldn't tell me what had happened or if everybody was all right. Check his neuro status.
We're trying to assess his motor response by pinching him and seeing whether he has a purposeful movement. He
Come in.
his arms up. He extends his legs. These are not.
Okay, just real quick, Daniel.
Yeah,
When did Audrey eat last day?
about 4 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
So it's probably getting close to that time.
Okay, I'll just ask, do you want me to give her some cereal tonight?
If you want to, yeah.
Okay, all right, honey.
All right. There's a bunch of new stuff down there to eat.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you doing? What are you
He's a very,
doing?
very sick boy.
You guys can't take one of those. You're squishing
His
it.
father's in the
They go
lobby.
over here. Yeah, they go over here.
Dylan's
Go
father
over
had
here.
to face both his son and his wife being at different hospitals on the same day at the same time.
I got 2 likes on my live. That's on YouTube for the pretty
A
decent.
nightmare.
I'm glad because it's gonna turn into at the end. It's gonna turn into a video
Oh, I know. I've seen
and
those.
post. So
I've looked at your
Howard, he's
live
very,
somewhere before.
he's got a depressed skull fracture and a possible brain injury. There's still a long way to go.
Someone's 15 there too. Someone's good condition. It's only at
I walked
15
in the
because
room
it's not good condition.
And he's laying in the bed, just kind of in a coma, lifeless. It's a real bad feeling. I felt like it should have been me, not my son. Can I answer any questions for you? I wanted to trade places with him, and
$6
I asked
72.
God, put me in his place and let him live. You know, I'll take his spot right now. You're gonna be okay. You know, you're gonna get better. And I'm gonna be right here with you until you're okay. Mom and I would be my very much. I just stayed by my son's bed. I didn't want to leave him for 1 second.
This one's a little more high end. This one's 20 for 2. So I took pictures of that one too.
6-year-old
Those
Dylan
more
Smith
high end
has
ones I
brought
have
to
been
Phoenix Children's
taking
Hospital
like
with a
actual
severe
photos I've been
head
taking the pictures of on eBay that show
Now,
that like
neurosurgeon
this is
David
$20.
Watts arrives to implant a pressure monitor in Dylan's skull.
Mr. Smith, this is the neurosurgeon, Dr. Moss. Okay, how's doing? How's my son? I'll examine his CAT scan, but he has a very severe head injury.
welcome
We're
in,
going to do
everybody.
everything that we can, but that's all I can tell you for it.
Whenever you encounter a patient who's not doing very
3-3.
well, you have to be very careful about making too many promises about how they're going to turn out because nobody knows.
Is he gonna have brain damage? It's too early to know. Right now, I need to put in an ICP or intracranial pressure monitor. What is that? What does that mean? Well, with your permission, I just need to drill a hole through his skull. It's a very simple procedure. It's low risk. However,
This
without
one's
it,
3-3
there
too.
is a risk that the brain could swell, causing further damage. Do whatever you need to do.
One of the problems with this kind of an injury is that spinal fluid pressure gets so high that the blood can't be pumped into the brain and it will cause the brain to die.
Let's get slow.
Carol, please. One of the treatments is to place a small tube through the skull to measure pressure.
Poor kid.
He's drilling through his head, and I'm sitting there hoping, just let my son live, that's it. I want him to live.
Here he has a child who was perfectly normal a few hours before, and now he's facing a potential life of disability, severe injury, or maybe even death.
Trauma surgeon Douglas Lundy has come down to the ER to repair John Manville's broken hip.
The honeymoon is off.
Now he's faced with trying to fix a broken marriage.
So now the bride and the groom are almost at each other's throats. She felt like she didn't need to be going off on a nice vacation home
Okay.
with dad
Sorry.
suffering.
Don't you even care?
They said 60. I was like, gosh.
He's fine. You heard him say so.
He thought that she was serious and they weren't going to go on this trip he'd spent all this money on.
The honeymoon is canceled permanently.
You can't cancel the honeymoon. Jack.
This is when the married part of it quickly got control. So I grabbed and pulled him aside.
I wonder if this would be considered a mess up on their part. See how this is all crooked?
For 11 years. You say yes here. This is
It's
her big
possible,
day.
yeah.
Like it's not on it because that's
Mhm.
that's straight,
Factory, yeah, I know.
I'll
but
take
then
care of it.
it's crooked as hell.
Don't you try to fight for it. You'll be paying for this one. the
Someone's
rest of your life.
5'3".
Everything's gonna be okay. Just relax. I got it. I'll take care of it.
Okay, Doc. Okay. I'm with you.
All right, let's go. And now I stepped in there and I was a lot more assertive. I said, listen, Jesse, we do this operation all the time. We've done hundreds of them. Get him to surgery, we'll fix him up, and he'll be up and around in about a week.
A week?
Listen to the doctor, baby.
We'll go to surgery, we'll put him to sleep, we'll put a titanium rod down inside his femur, and everything will be fine. There's really no reason for you to cancel your honeymoon. They'll be ready to meet y'all when you come back from Jamaica.
Okay.
It sounds okay, but I think it's best if we just call it all off.
I
And this one?
I agree.
5'4".
Baby, I just want you to know that I got you. So if you really want to call off the honeymoon, I'll make the call right now.
That won't be necessary. Let's see what happens with the surgery. That is, if that's okay with you, Daddy.
Sure, it's all right with me. I just want you to be happy.
Hi. Somebody in here called for surgery. Don't worry, Dad. We'll all be here when you get out of surgery, right?
No, absolutely. What do you say, baby? I'll be right over
Don't
here.
overdo it, kid.
This guy needs help. What happened? Stabbed in the chest.
Minutes ago, Mike Connor was stabbed in the heart and left to die in the streets. Now Dr. Eckstein must open his patient's chest and drain the blood-filled sac around his heart.
It was obvious that he had a life threat that needed immediate intervention in the emergency department or he was not going to survive.
Hey, here we go. Splash and flash.
Splash and slash, literally dumped the betadine on his chest,
Give me the scalpel.
grabbed the knife, and opened his chest. You're doing this incredibly invasive procedure under very unsterile conditions in the emergency department, but you're thinking this might actually work.
You cut between the ribs, cut all the way down to the sheet. Hey,
If it's one of your big confused on, maybe put
Heart
it to the
has to
side and I
stop.
can
Yeah,
kind of go
get
through them
the
later
blood
too.
out from around
double
the heart.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
gotta
this
stop.
one I'm putting this.
Let's rip.
This one I'm putting to the side.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'll double check them. I'll go through them and I can check and see what I think about it. You know.
It's the most invasive
Okay.
procedure we'll do in the emergency department and try to literally pull the ribs apart wide enough to get the rib spreader in.
Pull down on the rib. Grab the rib, pull down. Can I get the rib spreaders in there?
This looks like a device from medieval times. With big metal hooks attached on either side of the rib above and below. You then turn this metal crank, which then really spreads the ribs apart pretty wide.
Gets a better
They must have
lighting
started their
here,
fire.
Mm.
Okay, I can see the heart. Looks cyanotic. Pericardium was very tense. I gotta try to open
This
up.
one's $8.
His heart was still trying to beat. It was quivering at that point. So I had to get a certain type of pickup that had a grip to grab the pericardium off his heart. So I'm able to pick it up. I'm gently cutting with the scalpel, but I'm praying I don't cut into his heart.
Make a little incision.
When I do that, a clot of blood literally just squirts out from around the heart.
Okay, the clot's been relieved. And open up the rest of the pericardium. Okay, there's the culprit. See that, Frank? My finger
I
in
can see a small hole in his right ventricle that was oozing
And
blood.
this one here.
I get this
8-2.
sensation of this patient's blood pouring onto my feet, which is not the most pleasant feeling in the world.
Okay, put your finger right where my finger is.
So I have a resident put their finger on the hole and it
This
essentially
one's
stops
five,
bleeding.
And then the heart starting to beat again.
Within a minute or so after relieving the cardiac tamponade, this patient starts to regain a heartbeat. So now I have a beating heart. There's a hole in his heart.
I need a stitch. Hand me a 3/0 silk, please. Okay, slowly move your finger away as I start to suture this up.
I need to now put a few stitches in a beating heart, which is certainly something I've never done before.
Dr. Lundy has convinced the groom, the bride's mom, and the bride that surgery to repair a broken hip is the best thing for the bride's dad.
Hey buddy, you doing alright?
You hear that, Doc?
What's that?
Silence.
The operating room can often be a nice relief.
Hey, we got all the nails?
Got one on every side.
Alright, Mr. Mandel, we're finally ready to fix up that hip of yours.
Before you do, I just wanted to say thanks.
Not too many years ago, he would have been laying in traction in the bed for weeks and weeks at a time.
Don't you worry, John. When Jesse hears about how well everything went, she'll be on that plane at Jamaica, and we'll have you soon quiet to recover from all this.
Amen to that.
You're gonna be fine.
The surgery takes less than an hour.
So this is Dr. Love. Hey, you know they're all still out there. Tell me you got some good news. Great.
I go out to talk with the family, and when I came out, there was everybody that was there before, plus a few new stragglers. I am pleased to report everything's going just fine. Our operation was a complete success. Your husband's awake and alert and recovering. He'd like to see you and the bride and groom.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
You're welcome. Certainly that day I used the tools of empathy much more than I would normally need to use them.
Sounds like 10 out of 3.
Everything worked out perfectly. I want you two to go out on your honeymoon and stop worrying about me.
Daddy, I'm only trying to once in your life. Shut up and listen to your phone.
Dino Riders.
Go have a wonderful honeymoon. And don't worry about me. I'll be there when you get back. Oh my God.
I love you so much.
Congratulations. You're my son now.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, Daddy.
We'll all be part of the wedding story for the rest of their lives, so pretty cool.
You'll see those?
Yeah, why not? We've got thousands of them.
In the end, everything turned out okay, and I think they probably laughed about it for quite a few years down the road.
Right now, we just need to get time to rest. You should get some sleep too. I'm gonna stay here. That's fine. Okay.
Across
10
town
out of
at
2.
John C. Lincoln Hospital, Dylan's mother Marie still doesn't know how her son is doing.
How's Dylan? No one wanted to tell me. They thought that it would impair my feeling process. So I kept asking them, and they'd say, he's pretty bad. He's like you, he's pretty bad.
Neurosurgeon Paul Francis tries to get Marie to focus on her own injuries.
You see this, Mrs. Smith? You fractured your vertebrae. You understand?
The patient did in fact have a spine fracture. There is a good chance that this patient might be paralyzed.
I'm gonna take your hand and I need you to squeeze it as
What's
hard
a
as you can.
randomness?
Understand? Mrs. Smith,
I need to know how my son is.
It's very, very difficult for her to just even concentrate on what I was saying. She was much more concerned about her son.
As soon as we hear anything, I'll let you know. I can't imagine how difficult it would be as a parent to be in one hospital with a broken neck, knowing that your child is in another hospital with life-threatening injuries.
With Dylan still unconscious, both mother and son going for surgery, Marie to fuse her fractured spine, Dylan to reconstruct his broken face.
Okay, Marie, just breathe normally.
start with a knife.
What's up, guys?
Let's go.
We're able to fuse the bones in her neck that were in an abnormal position.
Looks good. Let's close her up.
Surgery went very well. We're very pleased with the results of the operation.
Dylan's surgery to reconstruct his broken jaw, shattered eye socket, and fractured femur is almost over.
Okay, we're all done here. Make sure to get an x-ray on the way after we see you.
His broken bones have been treated, but a potentially deadly injury still remains.
Dylan was far from out of the woods. We know he has a bruise on his brain. We know he has a depressed skull fracture.
There's about a half-inch laceration of the right ventricle.
Dr. Mark Eckstein has just relieved a deadly blood clot from his patient's heart. Now he's faced with the challenge of suturing the wound with the heart still beating.
Thoracic surgeon do this for a living. This is certainly emergency position. Look at opportunity to do this every day. I go ahead and put a couple of stitches in the hole. Nothing fancy, as if it's sewing up a laceration, which is what it is. The only difference is rather than a laceration on someone's arm or leg, it's on a beating heart.
Well, it's not pretty, but I think we got it. The bleeding seems to be controlled, and he's got a good heartbeat.
Very nice work, Dr. Exley. Well, let's not celebrate just yet. I don't want to be overly excited because he's clearly not out of the woods yet. We've done all we can for him down here. Let's get him up to the OR. The challenge now was to try to keep him alive, get him up to the operating room so the surgeons could finish the job. I've taken the patient basically as far as I can. You know, I've seen hundreds of thoracotomies, but the patients rarely survive.
Hey, his paralytic's wearing off. Let's move. Watch his hands.
I could see the paralytics they had given the patient starting to wear off, and he was starting to reach for an endotracheal tube, which told me his brain is still alive.
I just got the page. What have you got?
And about a 40-year-old male came in with a sample. Surgeons come in, they're going to take the patient to make sure there's no other injuries, perhaps add a few stitches to the heart or replace the ones I put in, and then close his chest. It's all yours. Even if he survives surgery, does he wake up? And that's the question. Did we win the battle and lose the war? That's really the issue.
$2.73.
They may die in the OR, they may die in the ICU, or perhaps the worst case scenario, they may survive, but may have brain damage.
Say it again.
$2.73.
The shift was fairly uneventful.
Dr. Eckstein.
Dr. Hardwick, you have news for me. No problem. Everything went better than could possibly be expected.
He made it?
You made it to the operation. We didn't find any other wounds.
They put a few additional sutures through the laceration, washed him out, closed up his chest, and he's in the ICU, and he's stable. Wow. Hey, thanks for the great news, and thanks for the help.
Nice cutting.
Thank you. No high fives yet. 4 patients waiting to be seen.
The next day, Dr. Eckstein goes to check on his patient, unsure whether he suffered any brain damage.
Excuse me? This is room for Mr. Michael Connor, please.
Connor, room 227.
Great, thank you. The odds are stacked against this guy actually surviving and not having brain damage. He was breathing on his own, and he was neurologically intact. I think I just stood at the foot of the bed. The patient probably thought I was nuts or something. Mr. Connor. Hi, I'm Dr. Eckstein. I took care of you down in the emergency room when you came in yesterday.
$3.72.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Everything worked in his patient's favor, from the police officers to the team in the ER, surgical team, ICU, all the nurses. Everyone did their job well and quickly. I was just thrilled to be a part of it. I really don't remember. Of course, he has no recollection of what happened. He remembers getting up to work that day, and it's the last thing he remembers. I don't think anybody would want to remember such a course of events.
That's why our wife is here. She'd probably kiss you.
Please send them my regards. It's great seeing you. You really made my day.
Thanks.
You will. You never get to a point in your career where you say, I know everything now, and you could just stop learning. It's very rewarding career.
All right, talk to me. We found a couple hundred people in the car.
It's been a week since Marie and Dylan Smith were brought to the ER after a devastating car crash.
Dylan, where's my son?
Now, following surgery to repair her fractured spine, Marie visits her comatose son at Children's Hospital for the first time.
Dr. Bakerman, this is my wife. All right, you miss you, Mrs. Smith. Glad to see you doing better. I'll give you guys some prize. Thanks a lot.
Dylan, it's mommy.
$5 out of 2.
We were in a class,
Bugs.
and I'm getting better, and so are you. I love you. I know you can't talk, but if you know who I am, just squeeze my hand. I was holding his little hand. I said, just squeeze my hand. Just squeeze my hand.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Make sure to like the live for me.
Dr. Bacon, please, here.
I knew he
Helps me get out there for more people to see.
I knew he would be better, and I don't know how, I just knew he would be better.
She told him to squeeze her hand, and, he did it. Well, good. That's where it is.
We're encouraged, but we know that the real work is only starting. He needs to do some serious work at that point with physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech to make a good recovery.
Weeks later, Dylan begins rehabilitation to try to retrain his brain.
He's had a pretty big blow, and it's gonna take some time for the pathway to regenerate, so he's doing fantastic.
There's a lot of circuits in the brain, and they've got to
10
find
to.
new routes.
GTRs.
Basically, they just go around all the dead circuits.
Well, as long as I clean them up pretty
they
good too,
reconnect
like
back up. Just do your best, okay?
most of these have been decent. Like once I really like
He
clean
just
them.
improved and improved at a very
Which helps
fast
with the
rate
pricing a
because
little
he
bit,
didn't
you know?
know that he wasn't supposed to be making the progress that he was. And he just sailed.
Right here. Right here.
You think it's not gonna happen to you? You never can replace the people that you love.
6 years have passed, and Dylan Smith is fully recovered.
Everyone says that it was a miracle that I survived because I was supposed to have 6 hours or something to live.
6 hours to live. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I think Dylan's recovery is amazing. Just the most wonderful feeling that a person can possibly have.
It's cases like Dylan that remind those of us that work in the emergency room why we do what we do.
It's a miracle, and I am just so grateful. I got my son back.
$6.72.
Yeah, school's good. Well, my roommate is Brian Cox.
You.
And I think he's just here for the access to Uber One for students.
My name is Brian. Waiting for some food. I'm saving money on food.
Oh, Mr. Cox.
Not you. Him.
He really loves those discounts on smoothies and on rides.
I didn't know Uber had senior discounts.
I'm a freshman.
But he's really starting to fit in.
These are the real stories of the ER that doctors never talk about.
His legs are going in directions that they're not supposed to go.
Please don't let him take my legs.
51 viewers. Let's go. In total so far.
It's got about 6 to 8 centimeter gash on the
Hells
spleen.
yeah.
Kevin would be almost like a hemophiliac that if he starts bleeding, he can't stop bleeding.
Dr. Maniago,
The VIP patient just coming in.
you are about to get a phone call from your supervisor.
It's royalty. It's a princess. You are to address her as Your Royal Highness. Okay?
These are the untold stories of the ER.
Clock's empty. Pretty hard to lose when it's the only car in the lot.
$5 at 8.
Paramedics Jeff Smith, and Anthony Brooks scramble into action in response to the emergency call.
When the run came in, it came in as an officer down. I decided to go ahead and jump on the medic as an extra person, and it's just something you do. My father was a police officer, my big brother was a police officer, so, it kind of gets your adrenaline flowing a little bit more when they say it involves an officer. From the time we left the station, we were probably on the scene within 20-30 seconds. I hear a lot of commotion. I look, there's another vehicle, and there's 3 or 4 officers, and they're in some type of struggle with an individual driving that vehicle. Then I proceed to the right of the vehicle, and the officer is down there. He doesn't look good. He is laying on the ground, his legs are going in a direction that they're not supposed to go, and he's in a lot of pain.
Todd,
You knew that there was a lot of damage done. You could see the indentations into the car, left a perfect imprint of his legs and the door of the car.
Todd,
He got hit by a car.
It showed the video of it.
Could feel his feet, which was a good sign. He didn't suffer any major nerve damage, and also that his spine was intact.
you move your fingers.
Yes.
$3 out of 4.
Get a high rate of 110, BP at 160 and radiate.
He looks up, and he asks me,
My goodness. We're doing everything we can to make sure that doesn't happen. I know, 10 milligrams more.
there was multiple bones sticking out. He was a mess.
How are they? Just try and lay still. How are my legs?
He was concerned about his legs, obviously, as we all were.
Your legs are pretty bad. We're gonna do everything we can.
Todd's partner was visibly upset,
Can I help? Anything?
wanted to help. I think all the officers throughout the run wanted to help. They just really didn't know what to do.
All right, we're taking him to Grant. Terrible accident.
No accident. The guy, he did it on purpose. He accelerated 30, maybe 40 miles an hour.
The gentleman that struck him had done so maliciously, had done it on purpose. I don't like to lie to the patients. You don't want to tell them, oh my gosh, they're going to cut the legs off. His legs look really bad. Well, see, there's no way he's keeping these legs.
$3 at like a 5.
Oh yeah, that got.
Yeah.
That ate the paint right off. Ain't that some shit, huh? Wow.
Yeah, no kidding, though.
70.
For Dr. Eric Maniago, communication is the key.
Having a bad dream?
to medicine.
Fucking guinea pig.
Some doctors can be a little bit aloof. I was always the doctor who talked to everybody. I talked to everybody at a human level.
Emergency. This right here.
For me, comes from the C-suite, where the CEO and the CIO and all them
Here's fine.
say.
This is Dr.
You
Maniago.
must have, because I was
Very
happy.
well that every emergency doctor
$4 out of
absolutely
2.
hates.
Yes, I'm the attending.
VIP is coming in. The VIP patient.
Okay, we'll be ready.
I will take a chest pain patient, a gunshot wound,
We have a VIP coming in.
anything over a VIP patient. The worst.
ETA 30 minutes.
There it goes today.
Yeah, all right. Let's pick out a room.
Everybody rolls their eyes. And you just make sure everything's clean, spotless. Make sure the coffee and the donuts are all gone. Make sure everything's in its place. Suddenly these very ominous big men
Welcome in.
suits start walking in, checking out the place. Security detail. So now we got guys in dark suits, sunglasses, and earpieces
5'4".
and firearms walking around the emergency department.
Dr. Maniago. Yeah, that's me.
You are about to get a phone call from your supervisor.
Okay. Emergency department, Dr. Maniago.
So then I get a call from my director,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
who then tells me, it's a princess. You are to address her as Your Royal Highness.
Really?
She's coming in with her father,
$6
who's the
too.
king,
Okay. Take care of it best we can.
and you are to address him as His Royal Highness.
Our patient is a 21-year-old princess.
Yeah. They're posting people at the exits, they're posting people outside the hospital, just like one leader who speaks English.
You will do everything in your power to make the princess comfortable.
Of course I will.
He's the only person who will talk to me.
What is this on?
We got a notification that she was literally pulling up the driveway. And the princess is taken out of the car. She's not looking too good.
His Royal Highness.
I remember this one. This one's funny.
She was sick enough where they actually put her right into the stretcher and then rolled her into the emergency department. She's being wheeled in, she's covered in security, and people start coming down from the upstairs, administration, the welcoming committee.
Pink Coffee, welcome to our hospital.
Thank you for making your facilities available to my daughter. She is having terrible stomach pains.
I'm so sorry to hear
That shit's weird.
Now, on a normal day, a 21-year-old female with abdominal pain is a bear of a workup, as most ER doctors will know.
Let me show you.
A 21-year-old female with abdominal pain who's a princess? Get me the hell out of here.
Capture the power of ultraviolet light to debulk the most challenging occlusions and restenosis. Peripheral Phillips laser atherectomy is a non-mechanical excimer laser catheter that can debulk and modify plaque in an array of morphologies, including in-stent restenosis.
7-2.
Phillips laser atherectomy is powered by Phillips Laser Systems, which are built on over 20 years of proven technology.
Phillips. For Dr. Cesar Aristeguieta, working at a Southwest pediatric hospital and treating kids always offers a unique challenge.
As I was working in the emergency
I've been showing them now every time when you hand them over here. I show them until I get it in.
the nurses told me that there was a new patient.
Hey, Dr. Caesar, how about one last case? It's just a kid with a bellyache.
Okay, let's take a look at it.
25 at 2.
All right.
Thank you.
To me, that sounded like something I could do quickly before the end of my shift. Dr. Aristeguieta, but everybody calls me Dr. Caesar. When I walked into the room, I saw that there was an 8-year-old boy.
There's one going for 40, but it's in
bed,
perfect condition, so I was like 25.
Yeah, this one's not the greatest, but it's in good shape
Yeah, there
still.
was a few on there like in that condition going for 25 to 30, so I was like, that's, you know.
Yeah, what's going on? You don't look so good. Your belly aches? And how do your belly aches
Let's see what we got next.
There you go. Got it into a big bag of
5-2.
So let's get you checked out. I think we need to find out what's going on there. You don't look so good. This kid is sick. There's something else going on.
We got the Tri-Cara truck.
I'm trying to figure out why this kid looks so sick. At the same time, I'm looking at the brother, and the brother continues to be somewhat nervous, and I can't figure out why that is. Why don't you lay down over here? Let me feel that tummy of yours.
Tri-Cara
The sicker
truck.
the child is, the less information you usually have, and the more that you have to depend on the clues that are coming either from the...
We're at number 68 right now.
...to guide you as to where you need to go next. Pretty tender, huh? Wow. Is that all over? It's all over that I got you? Okay. I'll stop torturing you. When I got to his belly and I laid my hand on his belly, I certainly noted that it was a little bloated and that he was tender there. Let me take a look at your arms and legs. Oh, what's this? On his wrist, he's got a medical bracelet with information on it. It says he has afibrinogenemia. Let me talk to you for a second. Kevin had a disease called afibrinogenemia. Means that Kevin, in common terms, would be almost like a hemophiliac, that if he starts bleeding, he can't stop bleeding.
The bracelet says he has a rare congenital disease.
That would have anything to do with his stomach, would it?
It could if he's gotten hurt, if he's fallen, something like that.
I told you, it's not a stomachache.
Of course it is, and you would have one too if you ate a whole bag of jalapeno chips.
He's not allowed to play sports. He's got a chaperone at school, so he doesn't run around and hurt himself.
It's a tummy ache, I tell you. He's had this before.
I've never seen him like this before. He's hurt himself somehow, and I know it.
Let me take a look at him again. I was immediately concerned. I'm looking at this kid that looks really sick, and now he's got a rare but lethal disease. If Kevin is bleeding into his belly and we can't stop that bleeding, he will die.
Johannes, can I get you anything?
No.
Dr. Eric Maniago's patient isn't just a young woman with abdominal pain. She's also a bona fide African princess.
You're trained to treat everybody the same, you know, whether it's a homeless person or it's royalty. Of course, that doesn't happen. We're human.
Would you like to wait someplace a little more comfortable?
I will stay here with my daughter.
Of course.
Medicine has become a service industry. Common saying in the service industry is everybody's treated equally. Some people are just treated more equally.
120 over 70 told to 68.
Heart rate's a little up. There's a little bit of vomit on
Real
it.
sports.
Not very princess-like.
I'm Dr. Motaba, Royal Court Physician to King Kawasi.
Nice to meet you.
Got the track and then
I'm thinking, okay, great. He knows everything about the patient. He can tell me what's going on.
Any pre-existing conditions I should know about?
Nothing congenital or chronic. Right now, she has pain in her stomach.
Any chance she's pregnant?
His Royal Highness, he kind of gave me kind of a stern look. Like, maybe you shouldn't be asking that kind of question.
I do not inquire on such personal matters.
Yeah, this guy's going to be a lot of help. So I go to the patient now.
Did you turn over on your back and sit up so I can talk to you?
No, I cannot. Go away.
She's the quintessential uncooperative patient.
Doctor, I just have a word really quickly.
It's going to be almost impossible to do this work.
Please don't show any exasperation in their presence.
So, Doctor, Her Royal Highness asks that you turn off the lights. The brightness is bothering her.
The doctor's not helpful. The father's not really cooperative. She's not helping me at all. either.
Your Highness. You want to talk to me? Fine. At least let me examine you.
I look in her eyes. I can look in her throat. I can listen to her chest. You know, careful not to expose anything. The physical exam is essentially non-specific and not really pointing towards anything.
All right, well, I'll have to do a pelvic exam. So I'll need you to take everything from the waist down off.
Excuse me, doctor. Why don't you see if we can hold off on that exam just for a little while?
And this is where the whole VIP thing becomes a problem. Because things are going to get missed. It could be an ectopic pregnancy, which could kill her. It could be an appendicitis. It could be an ovarian torsion. Since you don't know what's really going on, they could just, you know, circle the drain, as we say, very quickly.
Patrolman Todd Bush was maliciously crushed between two cars and is being rushed to the hospital. Medics Anthony Brooks and Jeff Smith have no illusions as to the officer's condition.
Dispatch, this is Fireman 54. We are inbound with a male police officer struck by a car between two vehicles.
Hang in there. Just a few more minutes.
They can fix him, can't they? All you do is put him in a cast, right?
$3.08.
There's no way he's gonna keep his legs.
$3.08.
Team from the city.
$3.08 for the damage.
He was
That's
never
pretty bad. He's about to get off with him.
Oh, this one, yeah.
Or even be a police officer for that matter after that.
All preparations in the emergency room are being coordinated by lead ER physician Dr. James Klein.
When you hear a cop is coming in, it's not an everyday occurrence, and let's face it, when a police officer or firefighter is
You know what
injured,
dinner was?
It's just chili
low
and brats, I think.
You have multiple tip fractures, multiple
Sweet bread.
right single fracture. He's been awake alert throughout. Pulse
Can you grab me
160.
more price? Can you grab me some crackers?
6 over 88. There's no flow, no level, nothing.
stretcher rolls in with patient on
Okay, bring that jar
stretcher.
down here too, little stuff.
Then he has X-rays, lower that.
Notice you. I look down.
Oh, I do?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Give me that.
Is that you? Todd?
I figured you would have taken it.
Who I've known for several years.
I'm getting snacky.
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
That's what I call it when I'm getting a little hungry. I'm gonna call it snacky.
Normally,
I'm getting
in order to
snacky.
take care of people, you really have to blunt
Yeah.
your emotions. But it's very difficult to do. And it's somebody that you know, it's somebody that you care about.
Let's run all the.
Kinda like you
It's
doing
wide
this.
open in there. I need to get a better look at these legs. Let's get these splints on.
Keep
It
stretched
looks
right
real bad once
Oh,
you're
I know.
exposed to its limbs.
Mommy's right there. You're falling asleep. You want tingly feet on mommy? No, we don't.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. He like stretched out
Hey,
feet.
we're at halfway point on the bed.
Bottom line was,
they didn't know at this point whether or not they would be able to save him.
Well, it's cool. Were you going through these and really detailing, like checking through them?
Well, we found a couple of them that were more
That's what
than
I
we
mean.
thought.
Yeah, so
25,
and cleaning
10,
off
10,
really,
10, 10, 20, 15, 17, 10, 20, 10, 10. Yeah. In the end, we'll go through and add it all up in the end. See how, you know.
Metro Cross with me.
Because we could end up, if you want, we could really honestly post all of them.
That's what I'd like to do, yeah.
At the end, we'll grab the ones that are worth more and put them in there too.
You'd say 5 out of 3. I've also have been pricing them for like what, because I go through and look at a few different of the prices and kind of like look at, you know, the quality and stuff. I've been pricing it to that, just so you know. Because there are ones that you can go online and then there's some that are a little bit cheaper and then there's some for a little bit more and stuff. And, yeah.
I just grabbed his hand and
Gotta go.
whispered in his ear that I loved him.
Toilet one.
Everything's gonna be okay.
Dr. French, it's close enough. We'll be ready in 5.
Good, have a meet us at CT.
If you come with me, I can take it as comfortable away.
I'm right here, honey. Wait, hold on, wait.
And they brought me off his badge and a little cross that his dad had made that he always carried in his pocket.
I'm so sorry. Those situations, you know.
Is there one place where it hurt for them all?
We've seen this one, though, so we know it goes okay. But
Dr. Cesar Aristeguieta's patient, Kevin Welch, has a bellyache. His parents think he's eaten too much junk food. But Dr. Cesar is more concerned about Kevin's congenital disease, which could cause him to bleed to death.
Kevin's condition is
little
quite
brother
rare.
would say, yeah, he
It can
fell
be
on a freaking
life-threatening
tree.
because he can certainly bleed out
Back here.
if he's not able to make his blood clot. Do you mind if I talk to his brother? Sometimes kids will tell me things that they don't tell their parents, and I need to find out what happened here.
Of course.
Hey, Kenny, come with me. I got something for you.
Dr. Cesar suspects that the younger brother knows what really happened to Kevin.
Something for you. Come with me. I am very suspicious about this eating the spicy hot snack causing him to have an upset stomach. And I need to find out if he could be bleeding somewhere that I cannot see.
Hey, Kenny, I want you to know that no matter what you tell me, you're not going to get in trouble, okay? It's really important for me to find out what's going on with your brother. I think that your brother and you were outside playing and he's hurt himself somehow. Do you know what happened?
I made me swear not to.
Let's do 4 outside, too.
Because we're trying to help him, okay?
Kevin wanted to go outside and climb the tree. I told him he shouldn't, but he didn't listen. Then a branch broke.
Fell to the ground and got hurt. Kenny wanted to tell you, but Kevin made him swear not to.
Honey, it's okay. It's all right.
Sorry. Okay, it's not your fault. It's a very emotional moment, but at the same time, we all have to focus on the
No,
task
you can
at
stay
hand,
there.
which is to really save this young boy's
turn it up
life.
for you. Just
All right,
stay right
everyone,
here.
listen
Go
now.
over there and step on
We have
it
a
again.
priority
Did it earlier.
code. We got a kid with afibrinogenemia who's probably bleeding internally, and we really need to work fast.
The fall could have damaged Kevin's internal organs. Dr. Cesar is worried the boy's blood clotting disorder is causing uncontrollable bleeding in his abdomen.
Now we're in a race to try to replace some of that blood he's losing before he goes into shock. We're gonna need 2 large bore IVs, we're gonna need serial hemoglobins, and start transfusing 2 units of whole blood. Ask the blood bank to start defrosting 4 units of fresh frozen plasma, and call the CAT scanner. Tell them we're coming over this kid.
Well, Caesar, the pictures don't lie. Kid's got about a 6 to 8 centimeter gash on his spleen. It's running from the anterior surface over to the gastric border. He's lost a lot of blood, Caesar. It's about 300 to 400 cc's, about half his full blood volume.
Get him back to the ER, I'll be there in a minute. In Kevin's case, that trauma was made even worse by the fact that he could not clot his blood. So this cut across his spleen was wide open and actively bleeding out into the rest of his belly. I'm just not sure what we can do at this point. If we try to operate, he'll bleed to death. We need to get creative as to how we stop the bleeding from his spleen without cutting him open, without doing an operation.
Surgery is especially dangerous for patients with clotting disorders because incisions will cause them to bleed even more.
This is the money clip one.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, there's a bunch of those, and it kind of ranges in between the prices and stuff. So I was like, okay, we'll do the like in between because
We
it's
are
important.
fortunate to have an interventional radiologist in this facility that may be able to go in there
That
and
one's so
swat
sick.
off the
It
blood
is.
supply to the spleen. Therefore, removing the spleen without actually having to go into Kevin's belly to do the surgery. The problem is that this is not done on a routine basis. These are the kind of things that are out of the box thinking to try to do something for this patient to prevent him from dying on very short notice.
Hi guys. Kevin's okay. I think he's stable right now. I think I found a way to stop the bleeding, but it's not without risk.
Dr. James Klein struggles to help patient and friend Officer Todd Bush, whose legs were crushed after being hit by an irate motorist.
He's definitely needing surgery. From the moment his pants were cut and his lower limbs exposed, it was obvious he would need surgery.
Thanks for coming down.
Now, the future of Officer Bush's shattered limbs rests on orthopedic trauma surgeon Bruce French.
Listen, Bruce, I know this guy.
I'll give you a call when I'm done.
Appreciate it. As far as
We see right away that he's got some
I don't know if that would be an
into a pancake,
inconsistency.
just flattened out and short, and one leg going one way and the other leg going the other way.
little
Push
red
from
mark
from the
right there.
CAT scan to the operating room.
I tried to wipe it off, it won't come off.
Up
It's
in
like under
the
there.
OR, Dr. French
It's
and
like a piece of the
reconstructive
paint
trauma surgeon
that,
Jerry
like, got
Burge see firsthand how
on the
bad
thing.
Todd's injuries are.
Thanks for coming down.
Do you want to put it to the side or no?
No problem. Looks like we've got
It's going for pretty cheap, so.
This was a difficult problem.
Okay, let's just do 3-2
It was a
then.
long area of bone that was exposed. There was a large amount of crush injury. There's not much left there, is there?
Officer Bush's muscles are
It's such a little thing, I just.
Yeah, that's why.
You know, I was like, I don't know really if it's worth it.
Basically from the knee down towards the ankle is all.
If it was more,
He's got compartment syndrome both legs.
you know, actually the car had like a different color little swipe of paint
Too
on
much
it or
stuff in
something.
too little space.
That'd be
You have
different.
to remove all the dead skin, the dead muscle, the dead tendons.
Will there be any skin grafts available later? It's hard to say. Still have to see how extensive the damage is.
The whole case, you're thinking about things that can go wrong.
You want to give everybody an opportunity, but you have to be realistic. We don't know if we can save Officer Bush's legs.
Downstairs, Todd's wife Becky can only wait and pray.
I had never been through anything like this before, and it's really difficult. It's hard. Todd is so active, and for him not to be able to have his legs and do the things, and he absolutely.
The one big one I've seen a lot of times people have caught on the Hot Wheels is on the box they're actually spelled wrong.
Oh yeah, that's what somebody had on the thing with this one, but the thing is when I compared it and looked at the picture, it's the exact same as ours. So, and when I go through, all of them are that same way, so I don't know, I think he might just be making a mistake on that.
Dr. Caesar believes he's found
We are on
ways
number.
to
We
stop
just
the
did number
bleeding from the
80.
ruptured spleen Kevin Welch suffered when he fell from a tree. Because of a rare blood clotting disease, surgery is out of the question.
Hey, almost ready for you, okay? Hey, young man, how are you feeling? Well, very good. Everything's gonna be all right. Give me a second, okay?
The problem is the procedure has never before been used at this hospital to treat this kind of injury.
It is certainly not something that's done every day, but it's something that an interventional radiologist is trained to do. And in cases like this, it could be life-saving.
Oh, baby, I'm right here.
I wanted the parents to spend as much time with Kevin as possible to try to take in as much of the moment as they could, because we didn't know what the outcome was going to be at that point. This could be the last moment that they have with their son.
Everything's gonna be all right. The doctor's gonna make you look better. sorry. I'll fix it. Oh, sweetie, you don't worry about that now, okay? Everything is all right.
You'll be our brave little soldier, right, my Jack?
Yes, sir.
We'll be right outside. Yeah. Love you. By now, for good or for bad, I had developed a bond with his family.
No worry, we're gonna take good care of them, okay?
They certainly were hanging in the balance. It could go either way at this point.
Okay, raise your chin up, sweetie. Just breathe normally. You're gonna go right to sleep. I'm ready.
The procedure starts. Kevin is put under anesthesia. In the meantime, I have to keep blood in his veins circulating so he stays with us.
All right. I'm gonna get abdominal aorta.
The radiologist then puts a needle in the groin and then begins feeding the wires, and he has to find his way through the pipes all the way to the spleen.
Do you hear that through the groin?
Pardon me. Right up through the pee-pee hole. No way. Not for me.
He's feeding these wires and these little tubes into Kevin's groin.
I'm in the splenic artery. Making a turn in the splenic artery.
The splenic artery comes off after the heart, but you have to make a 90-degree turn.
All right, I gotta back up here.
Just do 5-3.
He's having a little trouble here.
Just crack in there. With that one again.
Filthy?
That's on. What I'm looking for here. I'm injecting foam now.
When he finally gets to the spleen, he then begins injecting this foam-like product that forms almost like a plug into different areas of the artery that feeds blood to the spleen.
He likes that one, I
I think I
think.
got it. Way to go, energy.
His blood pressure's still low. I don't think you found it later.
Damn, this is tricky.
See, I don't know if this is a fuck up on their part, but the headlights are all painted over and everything on this one.
We were probably
Did you notice
now
that?
30, 40 minutes
Look at
into
the front end on there
procedure,
compared to the picture.
And the radiologist had to use this foam in a lot of different places, but there was still bleeding going on.
It's all painted over
The
white.
question was,
Or
are we in
painted
the wrong
over
place?
yellow.
Are we not seeing
I
something
don't know. I
else
just,
that's bleeding
I don't know.
away?
I was just thinking
If
maybe
we can't stop that bleeding, he will die.
if they're all have the front ends painted over like that, because there's none of these others are like that.
Dr. Maniago has an impossible task.
All right, we got zilch here.
He has to figure out why Princess Jinga has abdominal pain, but the princess wants to be treated, well, like a princess.
Let's just order a whole bunch of tests and we'll see if we can find anything.
I'm not allowed to examine her. I wasn't allowed to do pelvic. Wasn't allowed to do rectal. How am I supposed to figure out what's going on without touching her? So we put an IV in.
Please be careful.
She's very.
If you're not seeing
We give her
anything.
fluids because she's looking dehydrated.
Right.
We get blood tests. We're gonna check for chemistries.
Oh no, no, I'm curious because there's that one on here for 77.
I decide to start off with the sonogram, and then on top of that, they start sending down specialists.
I'd like to introduce you.
Welcome in, everybody.
This is Dr.
We are in the middle between cars. We think we found a misprint.
There's
No?
a saying,
It's painted over.
Damn.
too many cooks
Never mind.
in the kitchen makes a bad stew.
Could be a number of things.
And that's exactly what's going on.
Irritable bowel syndrome, particulitis.
I know. I see abdominal pain all the time.
Appendicitis might be a possibility as well.
I'm concerned about that as well. We have something, at least we can all agree at that point that there's nothing wrong with the sonogram.
You know, from the sonogram and the blood test, you definitely not pregnant.
Knew she wasn't pregnant.
I could have told you these things.
And then all of a sudden he turns to one of his servants. The servant pulls out a Q-tip and puts some lotion on the Q-tip, and he just holds his hand out like that. Takes the Q-tip and puts the lotion on his finger for him. I feel like I'm in Oz. She gets her CAT scan done. I have no physical. I have no history. I've got a normal sonogram, a normal CT. The blood tests are all coming back normal, but she doesn't look right. There's something missing.
Doctor, I suggested MRI. Definitely do, in my experience with that.
You know what you're doing. There's security in there. There's the king in there with his servants. They're all yapping away. Maybe we should do this next. Maybe we should do that next.
Come on, the MRI is complete.
3-3.
And everyone's trying to figure out what's going on. It's just getting really out of hand.
Yes. No. It could be a brain tumor.
Cannot waste any more time.
Okay, that's it. Everybody out. I want to be alone with the patient. Just me and the patient. Everybody else, get out.
I trained in a city hospital, so I can get stern if I need to. Please. Everyone just looked at me like, are you crazy?
I just need to spend some quiet, alone time with her. You too, your royal fatheress. Your daughter and her doctor need a little privacy right now.
I will leave this. But when I come back, I bet I have an answer.
I'll only be a few moments.
Entonces, ¿cómo go back? I'm not
Concerned father, but a formidable character at that. And I knew I was either gonna become the hero, or I would be looking for another job.
10-3.
I want you to be my coach. I want you to be my coach.
Dr. Caesar's team of specialists is trying an untested procedure to stop bleeding in the spleen of young Kevin Welch. The 8-year-old boy cannot have normal surgery due to a rare disease that makes it hard for his blood to clot.
At this point, this is looking like Kevin's only chance because the surgical options are so limited. We're not quite sure what the next step will be if this does not work.
All right, I'm getting close here. Getting there.
But very meticulously, he keeps checking and keeps going all the way around the spleen until finally about 45-50 minutes into the procedure, he placed one piece of this foam in a place that really stops most of the bleeding.
Oh.
I think I got it.
Oh, all right.
Now all we see is a very fine trickle of blood.
I got it. Let's get him to recover. Good job, kid. All right.
I'm relieved. This is the first time that I can take a deep breath and kind of relax for a minute. I left the geography suite. I went to talk to the parents.
Hi. Kevin's gonna be just fine. Everything went really well.
Everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah. Kevin's gonna be just fine. We got the bleeding to stop.
Mommy, Kevin's gonna be okay.
Oh, I know, sweetheart. When can we go see him?
Just a few minutes. The nurses are taking him up to the pediatric ICU. Yeah, pleasure. Our pleasure. It's not a problem.
Certainly is one of the more pleasant sides of the job when you can give good news. They were elated.
So his vitals were pretty good.
As soon as Kevin was up to an intensive care bed, it was important for us to put the family and the patient back together. I could see a lot of smiles and laughter, and that's certainly a good feeling. That's what made all this worthwhile.
Are you okay, Kevin? I love you, Kevin.
This is probably one of the most rewarding events in my career.
Officer Todd Bush's legs have been crushed by an out-of-control driver.
BP 102 over 58.
Now, surgeons Bruce French and Jeremy Burge try their best to save them.
This is basically a search and destroy mission. Find the non-viable tissue and get rid of it.
Once Dr. French removes as much dead tissue as possible, he attempts to repair the bones.
Femurs in 2 parts, tibias in 3.
A lot of damage. You think it can be saved?
I don't know the extent of the neurological injuries. If it's significant, this is all traumatic.
Stabilizing the bones is reasonably straightforward.
We need a rod for both the femur and tibia. Let's get some K-wires as well.
With the rod first, doctor?
Yes, please.
Make a hole in the end of his femur bone, a hole in the top of his tibia bone. One rod goes up, one rod goes down. You can line things up, get things to
15.
heal. The question is, what sort of function they're gonna have in the long run?
A success is not 90% working. A success is 100% working. And if you get less than 100%, it's 100% failure.
I think that's all the surgery can take for today. I'll wrap his legs. You wanna go ahead and talk with his family?
Downstairs, Becky Bush waits for word on her husband.
The whole force is praying.
But she doesn't wait alone.
We had so many people coming in, officers, friends.
Makes me a little curious because
You know,
in the picture there's no exhaust pipes even coming out from the front.
hoping and
Yeah.
praying that he would be okay.
Mrs. Bush? The move is decided.
Maybe those ones just start putting to the
First
side and
question
we'll
is,
check
Is
them
he gonna
later.
make it?
will he live? Oh, yes. And then the next question is,
Will we have our officer record out?
it's really a question you can't answer. I'm a simple bone fixer, and I can't tell you how the function's gonna be.
The next few weeks are gonna be
8-3.
critical.
I can show you 100 different patients with the same basic injury.
Really no guarantee that he will have full function in his legs again.
You're gonna get 100 different outcomes in terms of, this guy can walk, this guy can't walk at all.
Well,
Dr. Maniago has just kicked everyone out of the trauma room and is alone with his patient, the Princess Gina, for the
22.
very
she's
first
a
time.
sick horse now.
I had a feeling that if I talk to her, she'll tell me something because there was
That's fucked. This was what, 6?
A battery of
I think, yeah.
Damn.
You're as healthy as a princess.
What is this one?
22.
22.
Literally. I keep thinking that there's something you're not telling me. And she looks me in the eye and she says,
Last night, I went out with some friends. I guess I had a little too much to drink.
"Are you kidding me? After all that?" After I picked my jaw up from the ground, now I'm like thinking, well, yeah, it makes complete sense. She looks dehydrated, vomiting. There's nothing wrong with her. She's going over. She could have stopped it
5-3.
from the very beginning. We're talking 4, 5, 6 hours later.
I'm terribly sorry. My father showed up unannounced. He
5-3.
wanted to check up on me. And I didn't want him to think I was being reckless in America.
She's just a normal kid. Her biggest fear is that she's going to get in trouble.
I probably should have mentioned something to begin with. But I want to stay here and finish school.
Well, why wouldn't you be able to finish school? You're 21, you're allowed to drink. It's legal.
Daddy doesn't approve of drinking.
Well, you're not going to be too happy when I go out there and tell me you have a hangover.
You can't tell him that. I know the laws in this country.
If she insists, I can't tell anybody. I guess I could come out and say, I know what's wrong with her now, but I can't tell you. Yeah, that's gonna work.
32 Ford.
Let me go out there without an answer for her.
Very
Or kill me.
Daddy wouldn't hurt you much.
10-2.
She thinks Dad's gonna ground her, I guess. How do you ground a princess? You've wasted a lot of people's time here today. And now my job is on the line here. You gotta let me tell him. So, a little convincing.
Okay,
52 Hudson Hornet.
very well.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have the answer. The princess is suffering from a hangover. What? That's what. His veil, his countenance, his royal countenance suddenly became. He just became.
Please give me, doctor.
3-2.
He started yelling at her in her native language.
Good woman now. I can make my own decision.
And she was like, "Oh, Dad, just leave me alone." It's saying this in English. Any sign of loyalty just disappeared, and they were just a regular father and daughter. All a hangover is essentially dehydration. And she had essentially been treated because we had been giving her fluids the entire time she had been there. She was feeling a lot better.
If you are ever in Kenambanu, sure to look me up.
I will. Emergency
What's this
department is left to clean up. Whew. That was different. About a week later, some representatives from the embassy came back. They had letters and gifts for anybody who was involved in the care. Technically, as a physician, I'm not allowed to accept gifts, but I don't think I'm allowed to say no to the king. Basically, it says, thank you for taking care of Her Royal Highness in her time of need. Signed, His Royal Highness the King. How often you get a letter like that? So I framed it and it's up on my office wall. I should get knighted, right?
16.
You're the princess. But I'm not. Still working in the ER.
Officer Todd Bush is in the intensive care unit after undergoing surgery to repair his crushed legs. Orthopedic surgeon Bruce French brings Todd's wife to his bedside, where she sees her husband for the first time since the operation.
Wake him. Todd? Todd, can you hear me?
He was awake. He was on some pretty heavy-duty pain medicine, but he was awake. I love you.
Over the next 2 weeks, Officer Bush undergoes a series of painstaking operations to cover his legs with skin grafts.
4-3.
We have surgery every 48 to 72 hours. We don't have the freedom to make it look the way we might want to make it look. I have to make it look the way it'll work best. And how it looks is something we deal with later, if at all. His attitude was always that he was going to get better, that he was going to walk again. Todd was the patient who didn't say, why me?
2-2.
He didn't play a sick card, he didn't sit in his bed. He worked exceedingly hard with therapy.
A year later, Officer Bush
This is the 100th car.
to his old friend, ER Dr. James Klein.
It was the first time I'd seen him walk.
Car number 100. 72 Greenwood
You
Corvette.
know, fellas, I think he was glad to see that I was up and walking. I can do most everything I did before. I do have some limitations, but for the most part, I get around pretty good.
I just feel very happy that I was able to keep him regardless if he could walk or not. I'm just happy that he's here.
Hey,
4-2.
good to see you up and about again. Yeah, like you guys, just do my job.
Todd Bush put the tragic incident behind him and returned to the police force.
Everybody says that they can't believe, how I did this, or they couldn't do this.
No way, these two are the same cars, different colors.
You'll find a way.
There's gold one and the blue one you just did.
You'll get through it.
Attention to yours.
It's funny, the blue one's worth 4 and the gold one's worth 2.
Mamacita, ¿dónde está Santa Claus?
4-2.
These are the real stories of the ER that doctors never talk about.
He's talking, he's really not feeling any pain. He's not really even thinking about that he has a golf club sticking in and out of his head. He's a driver. My driver? That's my favorite club.
Snake venom has digestive enzymes in it, and it basically digests your tissues. And I'm thinking of this happening to my son, and I'm thinking we need to get in here fast.
Ryan, wait, you need to calm down. You're going down, sir.
It appears that he wants to get to the patient and kick his ass.
These are the untold stories of the ER.
2-4. Plastic's broken.
Hurting down here, or this part hurt a little bit?
Dr. Sean Bush is what's known as an envenomation specialist.
great. It's looking good.
He's one of the world's foremost authorities on the treatment of venomous snake bites.
As soon as I decided I wanted to go to medical school, I knew I wanted to be an emergency physician, and I knew I wanted to involve venomous animals in my work.
Did you have him check the pharmacy, make sure we had plenty of bottles of Crofab?
Sure.
We've used a lot today, especially on that last guy.
But the rewards of his profession have recently taken a backseat to his new calling as a father to his daughter Camille and son Jude.
Everyone that knows me knows how precious my kids are to me. The most important thing I do is being a dad. So I'm wrapping up my work for the day and I'm heading home. I look at my pager and I see my home number and I see the numbers 911. When I see those numbers, my blood runs cold. Honey, what's wrong? We don't page 911 unless it's a real emergency. My wife's crying and she's very upset and she says, "Oh my God, Jude's been bitten by a rattlesnake." Did you call 911 already? We live right here in snake country and we see snakes in our yard all the time. I would always say, God forbid something like this would have happened. All right, well, you know what to do.
I knew that if we did not get treatment quickly, and if we did not get help immediately, then we could die.
Snake venom has digested enzymes in it, and it basically digests your tissues. And I'm thinking of this happening to my son, and I'm thinking we need to get in here fast.
Sean, what's the matter?
Jude got bit by a rattlesnake.
Oh, God.
The Bush family lives 21 miles from the hospital. To get there by ambulance would take over a half hour. That's time they don't have.
Yeah, did you dispatch a helicopter
kinda crazy.
for Oak Glen? I picked up the red phone, and I said, make sure a helicopter's en route. And sure enough, helicopter had been dispatched. Okay, good.
An ambulance takes Jude and his terrified mother to an open field to meet the chopper.
I knew that the venom was destroying his tissues. You don't want to imagine your son dying. It's beyond painful.
I need you to go get some Crofab
7.2
mix at 6 miles.
on the Honda.
About an ID and get a bed set up. I wanted the antivenom to get going as quickly as possible because time is of the essence with snake bite. The longer you wait, the more damage being done. Or like that.
88 Honda CRX.
Hook that
I just kept saying, please get here soon. This could be the worst day of my life.
After 14 years as an ER physician, Dr. D. Larshevek knows how to run an ER.
As the ER director, I'm a person that people go to for the problem solving and the go-to person. There's always conflict. And managing conflict and being really calm in chaos, that's just me to a T.
Dr. B, I got a call on the radio here. Go ahead, Unit 5. Repeat what you just said.
Okay, I'm a patient with a club in his head, a golf plug in his head. I do not know what to do. I need instructions now, please.
All right, Unit 5, calm down here.
Go pee real fast.
Call the head trauma protocol. I thought it meant that you got hit with a
Getting there.
golf club in the head, which we sometimes see.
I'll get you more cards.
I just gotta take a break for a little bit.
Yeah, no, you're good. I'll get you more cards when I get back.
Okay, you don't understand. He's got a golf club sticking through his head. It's more than just a trauma.
Our medics are very well trained, and they've been in a lot of difficult situations. To have a medic be so flustered, I really got worried.
Call dispatch. I'm gonna need a wider ambulance.
I mean, wider ambulance, I was floored. I'm picturing the old style cartoons from Saturday morning with the, arrow sticking in one side and coming out the other. All right, hey, slow down. Don't bump down on the door. Don't bump it on the door. There's a gentleman coming in with 2 pillows on either side of his head. And believe it or not, this person was talking. I just couldn't believe it.
I'm like, okay, well, I'll pick up his ball. And then he puts his ball in the
This guy's monocular. What? He's talking about golf clubs, and golf balls, and money, cousin.
I'll never play golf with him again as long as I live.
When somebody's talking like this with this major trauma, it can be an ominous sign that, hey, this is a calm before the storm. 1, 2, 3. He's definitely been in a fight. He had some blood on his shirt and around his face. Dr. Larshevek, what's your name?
My name is Alex Reimer, but you can call me Alex.
Okay, a strong set of alcohol in it. Have you been drinking?
I'll just have to like hand
It's very
them to the side.
predictable.
I'm not gonna get up every single time and do that. We'll just wait a little bit
He's not really even
or
thinking
something.
about that he has
So
a
I gotta
growth
reset
bug
all of that
sitting in
then,
and
and
out
I
of his
gotta
head.
reset, you know what I mean?
There's obviously a disconnect between the mind and the body. Nick, go draw on Charlie Deluxe, okay? Let's get him ready. I think there was definitely some drugs going on. We need to get a tox screen. It's a double-edged sword. It protects the body in a way, but it's not really helping us.
You should see me, right? Oh,
Mhm.
you mean less
I
than
go
right
over
there
there
in the
over here.
Because he's not concerned about this club, he's moving his head around a lot, and he could be making the injury worse.
Let's figure this out here. All right, move your arms here, buddy. Right arm, finger.
Amazingly enough, he's what we call grossly intact. He's able to move his legs, move his arms. His only complaint that he really wanted us to do something about was,
I can't hear anything out of this ear. Is that gonna be a problem?
Oh, well, you got something sticking out of your ear. That's why.
Which part is it?
Man, let's get this cut off. Let's find out what's going on here, okay?
"Hey, careful, careful, careful. My jaw doesn't drop too often, but I think my jaw must have dropped then. The amount of force to actually get something through a person's skull is not trivial. I was like, wow, what does the other guy look like? I mean, is it King Kong or what's going on over there? If I didn't see the blood coming out of both sides, I almost would think this was some kind of joke being played on us. This is driver.
My driver? That's my favorite club! Where is he? Oh my God!
What I was worried about, a blood vessel that had been moved just a little bit. Hey, take the plug out, start bleeding.
Oh, no, that's my favorite club! Just do it!
And then, all of a sudden, bam, you lose him. Any moment he could go south, and he could die on it.
Oh my God! Where is he?
Just my best.
Honey?
There's a fire mule going to secure the wall.
These ones are all done already. Those ones are all still to go.
What are you doing?
Huh?
What are you doing?
Making videos. Yeah. I'm still on live on YouTube. I have been for like, it says an hour and 30 minutes.
When you stood up, I figured you got off.
No.
For access to essential crop protection tools like glyphosate. Get the facts.
You don't have to stink and be alone. You can use Old Spice Full Body Deodorant Spray. 24/7 freshness. Ooh, smells good, right? That smells great. From pits to toes, even down below.
Because I wanted to finish it all in one live. Because it's going to be all one video to my channel after it ends.
Not this weekend, honey. You're still grounded.
As a teen, Dr. Britton got into his share of trouble.
In high school, I was kind of a rebel rouser, and I didn't listen, but when people told me not to do something, I typically did it. I used to drive my parents really crazy. Fine.
What is she now, 13?
She's 14 going on 21.
Now a parent himself, Dr. Durham gets a taste of his own medicine.
Dr. Durham, I need your trauma left.
What's going on?
EMT's just told him left leg is broken, angular, heavy bleeding. His name is Brett, 17. He's got around their leg.
Oh, Dr. Durham, what happened?
Am I gonna miss my leg?
His leg was deviated away from his body in a non-natural way. It was pretty bad, but we're gonna fix it, okay? There was a gaping wound about 4 or 5 centimeters in length just below the knee, and there was 2 large bone fragments coming through the skin with jagged edges. Are you hurting in any other place?
No.
Your head or neck?
You gotta give me something.
This is a very painful injury. Trevor, can you give me some morphine, 5 milligrams? You just like movement caused the bones to rub against each other. Can you tell me what happened?
I fell on.
How'd you fall?
I went out the second floor window.
What made you go out the window?
It was nothing. I was just messing around.
Really didn't want to tell us exactly what happened. Maybe because he was doing something wrong, or didn't want to implicate himself in something he had done. Was there foul play involved? Was he pushed out the window? Yeah, we need some stat x-rays. Start with the AP lateral of the tib fibula. There's an orthopedic doctor on call. So I called him. I have an orthopedic emergency. He absolutely needs urgent surgery.
But treating Brett is about to get a lot more difficult.
Where is that boy?
Sir, wait. You need to calm down. Sir.
Security staff to New York.
Sir,
I gotta go.
calm down. This is a hospital. You're going down.
And it appears that he wants to get to the patient and
kick his ass.
Are you family? Sir.
Hell no, I'm not family.
60.
I caught that skunk ass pig and shared with my little girl.
Stop.
Dr. D. Larshevek's patient was brought to
He's still talking a mile a minute, and he's giving us a false sense of, hey, this guy's gonna be fine. It just made me more nervous and more upset.
You can't just pull it out. Come on, we need some help in here.
I know this is the hospital, but if he doesn't let go of me, I'm gonna drop it.
Okay, sir, we got a hold you tight here. I'll be back in a few seconds, okay?
Hey, what if I get into something?
I knew that he didn't understand that he could die at any moment.
All right, it's Dr. Larshevek in the ER.
I called the OR just to let him know, hey, keep the room open.
In one ear, out the top.
I knew I had to get him to the OR, but there was one big hurdle first. I had to get him through the CAT scanner. And he's not gonna fit with a big object. And I knew I was gonna have to cut that object.
Bolt cutters. Yeah, bolt cutters, yeah. Just don't ask me, just get those bolt cutters up.
My day wasn't getting any better.
What the hell?
We got people all the time that are
4-3.
arrested. They're coming into us for medical clearance before they can go on to booking or go on to jail.
This guy says he's hurt, need you to check it out.
Okay, yeah, it's bed 4.
He looks like he's been in a fight. He's got some blood on him. He reeks of alcohol. You can smell that across the room. And he's also talking about somebody that he had a golf game with. 2 and 2 becomes 4 very clear.
Jamie! He's alive!
This is the person that actually put the golf club through the head. I was worried here we're gonna have another brawl here in the ER. Here's a guy with a potentially life-threatening injury, and he's worried about getting his cousin, and he doesn't need this right now.
Oh my God.
snake bite expert Dr. Sean Bush is living his worst nightmare.
Sean, what's the matter?
Jude got bit by a snake.
Oh, God.
His own son, 2-year-old Jude, has been bitten by a venomous snake.
Just stripping out some O2, hook that up. I've seen every permutation of snake bite that you can imagine. I've seen grown men die, little children die. And so it's terrifying to me.
Dr. Bush's wife, Amy, tries to stay calm as a medical crew prepares to air her into the hospital.
I was worried that if he didn't get there soon, he wouldn't get the anti-venom soon enough.
Yeah. The longer that you let venom stay in the system, the more damage is done. And some of that damage is irreversible. Great, we'll meet him on the pad.
Well,
8-minute ETA.
let's go get him on the roof.
Inside the helicopter, Amy remembers something her husband taught her.
Mom's gonna mark the time. You've got your snake bite, okay? I'm just gonna mark it on your hand.
She marks the level of swelling on Jude's arm, along with the time. That way, they can keep close track of how fast the venom is spreading.
That venom was digesting his tissues, and he's so small that I just thought, this is going to happen so quickly.
I was just on pins and needles waiting for that helicopter to arrive. It's taking so long.
I could see it swelling in front of my eyes, and I could see that it was starting to gradually go up past the hand into the wrist, and I just kept thinking, oh gosh, but I was very fearful that it was not going to end well.
I did not know what I was going to see when they came out of that helicopter. I mean, I've seen people come out of the helicopter just twitching all over and bleeding all over and unable to breathe. It's terrifying. You open the door, there was Jude, and he did have a terrified look on his face. And I felt terrified, but I had to pull it together for Jude, because he's going to see me, and he doesn't want to see me all panicked.
I knew Jude was in the best hands possible, his daddy's hands.
As a physician, I'm not to get involved in the medical care of my family. It's just too close. It's kind of a general rule we have amongst physicians. But in this case, I had to be involved. I I was the expert.
You're okay. There's gonna be a lot of people taking care of you.
We go ahead and start the crowfeather infusion at 25 milliliters a minute.
Okay.
For the first 10 minutes.
A little bruising. So I'm gonna mark you. I'm gonna mark you again, remember?
Well, you got tooth bang puncture wounds, life-threatening.
All right, buddy, hang in there. Everybody's gonna be working on you all at once here, but you're doing good. We're gonna put some stuff on you.
How is he, Sean?
I don't know yet.
Honestly, at first, I was a little ticked off at her. I was like, how could you let this happen to, our son? I don't think I was that comforting.
This one?
I feel bad about
Bucket.
that.
I just saw Sean's face with just concern and determination. And, he wanted to help Jude as quick as possible.
Okay, first file in at 12 o'clock.
From the time of the bite, the time we started anthem, was about an hour. It's pretty quick.
Hopefully quick enough to counteract some potentially devastating complications.
One of the dangers of snake bites is that you can look okay on the outside, but you can have internal bleeding. And it can be dangerous internal bleeding. Like you can bleed into your brain or into your stomach tract. And it can kill you. You can bleed to death that way.
You're doing great. Oh, you're doing super.
Sir, wait, you need to calm down. This is a hospital. You're going down, sir.
Bruce Gibbs has just stormed the Pittsburgh ER looking for Dr. Britton Durham's patient.
I need you to relax. Are you related to Brett? No, not in your life.
A 17-year-old teenager shattered his left leg jumping from a second-story window.
I'm not going anywhere to that punk-ass kid's in handcuffs.
But Bruce
This
is
one?
intent on breaking the right one as well.
I caught his butt in bed with my little girl. The door was locked, and they were pounding on the door to get inside the room. The patient, with nowhere else to go, went out the window. In the old days, people would get their shotgun and start firing away.
Excuse me, doctor. I'm Stephen Maxwell, Brett's father. He has a severe broken bone in his leg.
I thought raising your kid, Maxwell.
This one, please.
Interacting with them is already interfering with patient care.
Why don't you come with me? I'll show you Brett. We're not done with this. He has a bad fracture to his leg, and he's gonna need to have surgery, but he should be okay. Come on. I messed up.
Dr. Durham, X-rays on leg fracture. His leg X-ray showed shattered bone fragments, which we call a convoluted fracture. Hey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 broken bones. We have orthopedic surgeon coming to fix it. We gotta prepare you for surgery. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Holly, keep her cool underneath his leg.
So am I good.
Here you go. No, I think we're gonna have to keep you for a while. His behavior had significantly changed. He appeared to be almost intoxicated or altered. Doctor, can I take tennis tomorrow? How much morphine did you give me? 12 milligrams altogether. It's not uncommon to have a silent injury from a trauma sneak up on you. I'm not sure. Possibility of intracranial hemorrhage. A couple of minutes. It's not uncommon to be into a coma and then have cardiovascular collapse and then die.
Oh, look, a ninja.
He was doing stuff like
Hey, look, I'm a seal.
and he'd go like a seal. Now we're worried that this is the beginning of something ominous.
CT's open and ready.
Monitor that closely. We have to order a CAT scan to rule out intracranial hemorrhage. As you bleed more into your brain, it squishes your brain and causes severe brain damage.
Dr. Sean Bush is struggling to save his 2-year-old
I haven't done that
son
one yet. Sorry, I
from the
just put it
ravages
on
of a rattlesnake bite.
But hang in there.
This one
It's just too ironic. I'm the snake expert, and then my son gets bitten by a snake. I was upset. I was mad at God.
See your hand. Does it still hurt a little bit?
Let's give him 400 milligrams of acetaminophen.
Exactly what you would have done for any patient. I think each step is 10 times more agonizing because it was Jude.
Let me take a look at your
I see that the swelling starts to pass that line I've drawn. And as it passes, I know that more damage is being done.
And the news is about to get worse.
What is that?
Okay, thank you. Jude's fibrinogen is a little low, so cause for worry.
I want to be safe and give him another 2 vials of Propan, please.
Yeah.
This is part of what helps us clot our blood normally. The snake venom causes your blood vessels to leak. It can make you bleed to death. That was an indication for more anti-venom.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'm here to see Dr. Sean Bush. Neighbor Ed Dumaine was at the scene when Jude was bitten and has managed to catch the live snake.
Okay, follow me.
It's helpful to know the species of snake. If you know the species, you can tailor your treatment and give better treatment.
There's an idea that says he had to snake for you.
Hey, Ed, I really appreciate what Ed did, and it was above and beyond the call of being a neighbor. Was it a big one or a small one? Or big enough for me. I wanted to kind of lay eyes on the snake and see what the species was. Thanks. It's a Southern Pacific, that's not so good. Southern Pacific is actually the most dangerous snake around here, and sometimes the anti-venom doesn't work as well for Southern Pacific rattlesnake venom. So I'm thinking this is the worst case scenario.
Oh, just pull this thing. No, you can't just pull it out.
A fight on the golf course ended when a driver was driven through Alex Raymer's head. As Dr. D. Larshevik and her team fight to save his life, the man who did this continues to threaten it.
Alex has got to get under control here. This guy's got a golf club in his head that at any moment could cause the vessel to start bleeding, and we could lose him. I'm not taking this anymore.
I've got enough of you. We're doing 100 of sucks, 2 of our set. Let's get this guy out.
I made the decision. He's got to go to sleep, and we got to intubate him, and he's just got to stay nice and paralyzed and quiet. So I'm not taking a chance with that golf club moving anymore. Come on, breathe in. Breathe in. 99. All right. Quiet. Engineering came down. They were a little nervous.
It's in Onewood.
They don't often get called to come on in and help us out.
Sure you wanna do this?
I was worried a little bit if he was going to be able to handle it.
He'll be okay. Come on over here. You need to cut it above and below.
We need to cut off the excess metal that's above and below his head so we can fit him in the CAT scanner.
All right.
Everything has to be really still. Can't be sawing this and causing his body to move, because that's going to increase the risk of bleeding. So it's got to be one cut and one cut only.
Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Okay, all right. Then you hold up there real tight, real tight. You do it again. Come on, man. I know it.
Vitals are holding. Nothing's finished.
Good job. All right, save somebody's life today, all right?
Then it was our turn to get a file, really shave the edges off, make it smooth, so that eventually we could get him out. That's the last thing we needed, was some more damage going on to this guy's brain.
8-2.
I'm down in the CAT scanner, and by this time, I think half the hospital was in the CAT scanner too. Word travels fast, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime kind of incident.
That's amazing.
And we can't even talk. We had to intubate him just to get him to shut up.
My colleague, Dr. Barton, came by because he's actually going to perform the surgery of taking out this golf club.
Can I get a 3D picture of that, please, when you get home?
We know the metal's in there. We kind of
Custom 77 Dodge van.
band that we see in the CT scan.
Well, his middle ear is destroyed. I can listen onto that side of his head again.
Yeah.
But as to what other structures of his brain are affected, I can't tell.
We're concerned about motor function. We're concerned about capacity for breathing. We're concerned about the sensory components. How is this guy going to function? You can't predict.
This could be bad. This could be really, really bad.
We're not seeing an excessive amount of bleeding. We're thinking, take this out, it's going to start bleeding. We're going to lose it. We can't leave it in. We knew it had to come out.
Price Wood is here with quality wood toys that help develop skills like problem solving and building imagination. Our toys foster open-ended creative play from baby to big kid. Wood toys from a name you trust, only from Fisher Price.
Get home internet so simple, you can install it yourself. From US Cellular.
I am Rena Bacone, founder and CEO of PassionFit. I empower others through wellness. And my path started at the Wisconsin School of Business at UW-Madison.
Remember that his cousin did this to him.
The 3D scans of Alex Rayner's brain reveal the precise path the golf club took through his head. What Dr. D. Larshevek and Dr. David Barton can't see is the damage that was done to the soft tissue deep inside.
Okay, nurse, take him straight to OR 2, would you?
Dr. Barton invited me to come back down to the OR with him and help perform the surgery. Sign out my patients and junior attending, make sure they get discharged, okay? I'm a little bit scared, but I knew that I wanted to see this case to the end.
Okay. Oh, I have the lab for a golf club man and his cousin.
Oh, let me see see what we got. Whoa! The alcohol level came back, and he was at least 5 times the legal limit. He was way up there. Him having a high level of alcohol in his blood definitely complicate anesthesia. Sometimes it can lead to increased bleeding. It's an extra added degree of difficulty that you don't need in an already complicated case like this. It's very hard when you see this guy lying here, motionless, not speaking, intubated.
Let's get started, shall we?
This doesn't look like a survivable injury.
Well, you know, his EEG is perfect. I really had to advocate for my patient, and he came in talking. I knew I was doing the right thing. Well, now, how do we do it? There was quite a discussion in the OR whether to pull or to push. Initially, the neurosurgeon wanted to pull through and go through the top where the golf club was sticking out. He's got bony fragments in his ear. We're going to drag it all through his brain. It's coming out through the bottom. The bone will come out this way. We wanted to minimize the amount of damage that we did.
All right, let's try it.
Welcome in.
We actually did this as a team, one person gripping one side and one other person gripping the other side. We didn't want to go too fast, but we also wanted to make sure that we got this out in one big chunk. And it was pretty tense in there. All right, let's go. What am I doing? Is this really going to work? And as soon as I take out this metal, is the plug going to be taken out and we're just going to see blood squirting everywhere? Should I ask them some questions of who wanted me to call or loved one prior to doing this? Because you might have heard Alex utter his last words. 1, 2, 3.
By nightfall, the snake bite on little Jude Bush's hand has gotten worse. His father, envenomation expert Dr. Sean Bush, is beside himself.
I'm watching this line on his arm that I've drawn, which is the edge of the swelling. And I see that the swelling is getting past the line on his arm. And I know that that means that the venom effects are recurring. You see your hand. The hand becomes so puffy that it kind of got like contracted. You know, like he would have little contractions in his finger.
He's a very cool cucumber on the outside, but I knew on the inside that it was tearing him apart because it was his boy.
Dr. Bush is concerned because sometimes victims do not respond to the antivenom of this species of snake, a southern Pacific rattlesnake.
He could die. Absolutely, he could die.
Why don't we just go ahead and mix up another 2 vial, and then we'll recheck the labs after that.
Okay.
Jude needs more antivenom, but you gotta worry about the side effects and the after effects of his antivenom. And we're gonna watch him real close for any signs of adverse reaction.
you can have a reaction called serum sickness.
Serum sickness is an allergic reaction to the antivenom and can have life-threatening consequences.
The more you give, the more likely someone is to have serum sickness.
Jude has already received 12 vials of antivenom.
Jeez.
All right, and then as soon as that infusion completes, go ahead and repeat the CBC, CPI, and add a CK while you're at it. Snakebite is hard to treat. It's not just straightforward cookbook. Even after treating hundreds of snake bites, I still find myself, in situations where I'm not exactly sure what to do next.
I love you. You're doing a good job.
With my own son, the decisions go from difficult decisions to agonizing decisions. What are his latest vitals?
BP 110 over 70. Respiration 60.
I just wanted to call somebody that had more expertise than me, and I just couldn't think of anybody. Yeah, it looks like the swelling is recurring, so we're gonna go ahead and either mix up another 2 vials and get it.
Okay, fine.
So I tell the nurse to mix up some more antivenom. If I undertreat him, then he could have permanent problems. So if I overtreat him, he could have permanent problems. If he has any one of these outcomes, I'm never gonna forgive myself.
As you can see, there's multiple fractures in his leg. We have orthopedic surgeon coming to fix it.
Brett Maxwell jumped out of a second-story window after his girlfriend's father found them in bed. But his behavior has taken a turn for the worse. Dr. Britton Durham is afraid Brett's broken leg is the least of his problems.
So we have to start looking for things maybe you missed. Hi. I'd like to talk to your daughter.
I can answer your questions.
I understand how you feel, because I'm a father too. It's really important. Audrey, can you come with me? Your girlfriend's father is obviously angry and hostile for the events which occurred at his house. But I still want to know what's going on with the patient. Can you think of anything that could explain why he's acting in such a bizarre behavior?
I don't know. I can't say. I don't want him to get into any more trouble.
I'm talking about his life. You need to tell me what's going on.
I told him not to eat it. I told him.
Not to eat what?
Well, we had some pot and some meth, and when my dad started coming, he got
Pot and meth, yeah.
He just started shoving them in his mouth.
So he took a whole bunch of marijuana and ate it, and he had some methamphetamines. Enjoy it. Even though not smoking it or snorting it, if it's going inside your body, you can have major toxic effects. So we may not have a whole lot of time. Polly, can you start Narcan? Start 4 milligrams IV push. Doctor, please, what's happening? Apparently he took a large amount of methamphetamines and marijuana. So we're giving him some medicine right now to reverse those effects. We have a drug that reverses the effects of narcotics, so we gave him a small dose while trying to maintain his breathing. Now there's a question whether these drugs are going to interfere with his surgery and anesthesia. So Bill?
You said 4-2?
Yeah, it's not a change in plan. He took some methamphetamines and marijuana. So we decided to let the drugs wear off. Right, windows are negative.
Several hours later, Brett's stats have stabilized.
Well, Mr. and Mrs. Maxwell, I think the drugs have taken their course. I think it's safe to take him to surgery now.
Please be okay.
Okay, Audrey, let's go find your father. Thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you.
It's very helpful. Thanks.
Brett may have lost his girlfriend, but he manages to keep his leg. After 4 hours of surgery, his bones are successfully plated and pinned.
I don't have that film yet.
Dr. Durham refers Brett to a substance abuse specialist. It will take months to rehabilitate his leg.
Hi, Brett. How you feeling?
I feel like an idiot.
And maybe longer to repair his relationships.
Just stay out of trouble now, okay? I was a pretty typical teenager, so we stuck around quite often. But I could really relate to how he felt. You guys take care. I'll stop in and see you tomorrow. Okay. But as a parent, I can also relate to the feelings of wanting the best for your child and feeling that you have to be protective. So I could relate to the parents in this case as well. Hey, kiddo. Everything okay?
razor-thin margins, supply chain disruptions. American farmers need innovative solutions. That's why the Modern Ag Alliance advocates for access to essential crop protection tools like glyphosate. Get the facts.
Dr. D. Larshevek and the emergency surgical team prepare to remove the shaft of a golf club from the head of Alex Bramer.
I'd be pulling one. I'm wondering as I'm pulling this out to who would be able to control the bleeding that's going to happen when we take this out. And will we lose it? 3. People like this don't make it. They don't make it when they've got this big injury and they've got an impaled object going in and out of the brain. It's repositioned. You clamp. A little bit more. Okay, I'm in. Well, it starts to move easily, and I think my heart must have skipped a beat because it started coming out. It came out so smoothly and all intact.
You got it. Let's get suction.
We pulled it out, and I'm telling you, you could have heard a needle drop in that ER. And everyone looks at the patient, monitors, and nothing happened. It's stable. Great. No blood.
His vitals are holding.
Just a little brain fluid here, not much. We anticipated when we took out the object that he was going to bleed and we're going to get a drop in blood pressure and we're going to have all these crazy abnormalities. I pulled out bullets, hooks, coat hangers, many different objects. But this came out, wow, so smooth, one of the most easiest things I've ever seen.
6'2", you said?
Let's get him cleaned up and let's get him up to ICU.
All right. Wow. My cousin must have read the textbook prior to putting this in because you avoid a lot of major arteries in the gentleman's brain. But we're still not out of the woods here. He's in critical condition.
With nothing more she can do right now for Alex, Dr. Larshevek leaves his side to pay a visit to the man responsible for the horrific injury.
What's that guy's name? Jamie, right? Ed 4, okay. He's with the cops, right? All right. Hey, thanks. I really felt like I had to confront him for what he's done. I wanted him to know how he's impacted Alex's life, and I wanted him to kind of feel bad about what he's done and show some remorse. Doc. Hi, I'm the doctor who's taking care of your cousin.
Oh, yeah, he's the one shaving his throat.
So did you really put that golf club through his head?
Yeah. Didn't figure to go all the way through, but...
He described pretty calmly of how he took this golf club and how he broke it off, created a sharp edge, and put it through. All right, buddy. But you know what? We have certain rooms that are closed video circuits, cameras. So if he ever tries to deny it in the future, we've got evidence that, hey, this guy freely admitted what he did and described it on how he did it. Thanks, guys.
What a fucking dummy.
He really didn't show any remorse. This patient could still die. His cousin would be facing homicide charges. We elected to keep him intubated for at least 48 hours so that we allow his body to heal. Because we still didn't know, are we going to have brain swelling? What's going on? And we only tipped the surface of what is going to happen to this gentleman. How's our boy doing?
Oh, he's rock steady. Vitals are normal. As to what kind of permanent deficits he'll have, we don't know yet.
Even though we got the object out, what's going to happen to this guy?
Alex Bramer was brought into Dr. D. Larshevek's ER with a golf club stuck through his head.
This one's 6'2".
Dr. Larshevek and a team of surgeons successfully removed the club from his brain. But now, Alex lies in a drug-induced coma in the intensive care unit, recovering from the trauma.
Dr. G, good to see you.
Good to see you too. How's our boy doing?
Dr. Larshevek hopes his injuries are not as devastating as they look.
5'2".
Excuse me, nurse, can you put this on the monitor for us, please? Okay.
Oh, there it is, yeah.
Okay, the brain tissue is filled in around the penetration area here.
We got a CAT scan within 24 hours, and it looked great. Amazing.
I mean, there doesn't seem to be much swelling and, there's no bleeding at all.
The track that the metal made where the golf club went in is almost closed up in the brain, which is really the best you can hope for. There was minimal amount of bleeding, and the other neural tissue kind of came up there and filled in the gap. Amazing.
And if I hadn't seen this in my own eyes, I would never believe it.
The pathways in the brain, there are some redundancy there, and other parts of the brain can pick up when their loss is occurring. I mean, we're all hoping that we might actually get pretty lucky here. No, I can't believe it. Oh my gosh.
Goes clear up into the tree, right?
We have been predicting months of recovery and neurological changes, but he surpassed everything.
Look at this, Alex. You're a ransom person, you can do it.
He was ready to be discharged in 7 days, and he still hadn't lost his great personality.
5-2.
Learned some good lessons there.
Diet. Fine. Don't worry about me.
Right, till the next time. Really,
Come in.
the only deficit was that he wasn't able to hear out of the right side. You know, that's
Can you take a break for a few, or are you screaming?
I am, but what's up?
Oh, I was just gonna go outside and have a smoke, but I was really looking, but.
Okay.
No.
We're almost getting done there. Whatever's on the bed is what's left. So if you wait like 30 minutes, I'll go with you.
Okay. Alright, I got Missy down there, so.
Okay.
I just gave her another bottle. She ate a bunch of peas.
Nice.
She had peas and oatmeal, and then she ate a bunch of her rice.
Nice.
And then, I just gave her a bottle, so.
Nice.
I wanna be safe,
Okay.
give another 2
Alright,
bottles.
two, if you decide you want to. let's
Hey,
go.
two.
His son's
Okay, yeah, I will.
Dr. Sean Bush has increased Jude's dose of antivenom. The risk is a serious allergic reaction. As morning approaches, he hopes he made the right choice.
We'll get through those, and then we'll do these ones when we get back, because these are the expensive
I
ones.
don't have any more pain.
We'll do those ones when we get back. Kind of more into detail.
Morning.
The swelling has gone down. That's very good news. It means the venom has stopped coursing through Jude's body.
Oh, it's looking a lot better. Tension eased, and it even seemed a little less bruised, a little less bluish than it had. So it looked better, and I was reassured that it was the right decision. Fortunately, he recovered. You want to go home? Jude was saying, "Go home, Daddy," and I was ready to go home.
And when Sean walked in the door with Jude in his arms and Jude smiled at me, I felt like they had been gone for 2 years. There's my big boy. That was an awesome moment. That was probably one of the best moments of my life. Nothing means more than the family when you go through something tragic together. Nothing means more, and everything else fades in the background.
Dr. Bush's family and his sister Becca accompany him to an open field several miles from their home.
People asked what I was going to do with the snake, and everybody kind of thought it would be natural for me to kill the snake. And to me, that would go against everything I've ever taught. This looks like a good spy.
When I met him, he didn't have clothes in his closet. He had aquariums filled with snakes. And Jude wants to emulate his father. He imitates Daddy all the time.
Now remember, it's not a bad snake. It's just doing what snakes do. We turned the snake loose. I was kind of using it as a teaching opportunity. I said, well, what's going to happen if you see a rattlesnake again? He says, I'm going to go tell Mom and Dad. And I said, are you going to touch it? He's like, no, I'm not going to touch it. I'm reminded all the time in my job as a nurse physician that bad things happen, you know, and this was a bad thing. It happened to us. Now we're recovered, and I'm just so thankful and happy to have healthy kids, you know? I mean, and it's just something you can never take for granted.
The $7 Lux Cravings box has the Gordita Supreme? What is this, the 9? $7 Lux Cravings box. Only at Taco Bell. Ooh, yeah.
See what scholarships you may qualify for. Find your purpose at acm.id/myoffer.
of the ER that doctors never talk about.
60-something male, possible foreign object extraction, some kind of.
Oh yeah, we're getting
You mean
there.
like a fish hook?
Good deal.
Do 22.
A lot more than a little.
20 and 2.
There's one going for 75.
Oh.
Like a weird feeling about it.
But then there's others going for like 11 and like 10 and stuff like that. The one's in decent condition, so.
These are the untold stories of the ER.
Alright, morning everybody.
One of Dr. Joe Eric Johnston's
So we'll do the rest when we get
responsibilities
back,
is
because these are
keeping
all
his
like
fellow
weird
colleagues
little
up to date
set
on
things.
current trauma
Okay.
procedures.
You know?
It is a punishing profession. It is difficult.
Except for these ones.
Emotionally and physically.
But that's also what gets his
Well, I don't have the full set.
I like being the guy who can.
They're all sets, but
Sorry to interrupt.
you said 4-3.
Airlife Number 2A, they have a request for a trauma surgeon to accompany them on a rescue response.
Are you sure you didn't misunderstand him?
Yeah, I asked him twice just to be sure.
You guys have to excuse me for a minute.
For Airlife to call and say, we need a surgeon to go out with us to the scene, that was very unusual, because the implication is that their level of training is not adequate for the scene.
What are they saying?
60-something male, possible foreign object extraction, some kind of hook.
The description of what type of hook or how he was impaled or what was going on, none of that information was conveyed to us.
You mean like a fish hook?
I'm sorry, they didn't really say.
If the first responders in Airlife say they want a trauma surgeon on the scene, that's what they're gonna get, because we just respect their clinical judgment. So
4-3.
there was just a tremendous amount of first responders there, which made the situation even more confusing because we've been called to take care of one person. What actually happened here?
Well, he was picking the bucket off the backhoe, and the cylinder arm, the hydraulic, it fell on him and slammed him straight into the hook.
You said what?
4-3 for that one. And this one's 8-2.
Trauma surgeon's here, let him through, guys. Thanks for coming back.
Well, then it became really clear why there were so many people there.
BP's 110/60, SATs in the mid-90s.
Tell me he's still conscious?
His name's Wayne Gale Craig.
As a trauma surgeon, you expect to see a lot of gruesome things, but a large hook through someone's head. Wow, I can't believe what I'm seeing.
Mr. Crate, my name's Dr. Johnston. Can you hear me? Yes, sir. I need you to hang in there. You're gonna be all right. We're gonna take good care of you.
You're dealing with a catastrophic fatal injury.
This one.
It certainly was.
Oh, 8-2. I already got it. Yep.
Are you sure?
For many doctors, a medical mystery makes for a major headache.
Now it's a clear day right here.
But for
10-2
emergency
on that
physician
one.
Dee Larchevek, it's a challenge she relishes.
You hadn't suggested another look at the CT, I wouldn't have.
You know what? It's a hard one. We'll get it next time. I love getting to the bottom of stuff. That's why I love emergency medicine,
Loki.
because it's CSI without the wait. Hey, what do you got for me?
Insulin independent diabetic. History of heart problems, bypass, and complaint syncope. Yeah, passed out at the
This one's gonna be
Like
6.
says he's constipated. Seems fine.
It seemed all routine. He had a bowel movement. A couple of minutes later, he passed out. Thanks a lot. Hey, Jay. Come on over, medical student. Great. I got a case for you, all right? Post bowel movement, syncope. Hi there. I've got
155.
Everyone call me Dr. D.
Oh, thank God.
You're Mr. Hiller, right?
That's what 155 Hot Wheels look like.
Everybody calls me Chuck except my wife.
I'm gonna go through it later so I can take pictures of it.
Okay. They were very nice.
Well, we're still not done yet.